Let's talk about how pronunciation works in German. We'll start with the letters that are basically unchanged, and then we'll go on to more complex letters and sounds. I'll also be saying the name of each letter as we go through them. So the first category is letters that are totally unchanged. Here we have B, D, F, G, H, K, L, M, N, P, Q, T, and X. Now the next category are letters that are essentially the same, but you have to be a bit careful not to mix things up. The C, or C, is pronounced as it is in computer or camp, which by the way happen to both be loan words from English and so exist in German as well. Computer and camp. It is not pronounced like the C in race or pace. Next is the S, also S in German, which can be pronounced in two different ways. As a soft S, like Z, Z, or as a sharp S, like it usually is in English. See, saw, say. The soft S in English is usually spelled with a Z, such as zoo, but sometimes also with an S, like loser. And last we have the Y, or Y in German. Y is a pretty rare letter in German, but when it does appear, it is normally pronounced like it is in yoga or yacht, which in German is pronounced Yacht. Next are a couple letters that exist in English too, but are pronounced differently. First we have the J, or J, which is actually pronounced just like the Y is in English. Some examples: Jung, which is young, and Ja, which is yes. The V, or V, is pronounced like an F in German. Vater, which is father, and Vogel, which is bird. German does still have the V sound though. However, it is represented by a different letter, the W, or W in German. Wann, which means when, and was, which means what. Last in this category, we have the Z, or Z. This is pronounced basically like a T and an S together. So try to make those two sounds together. First the T, then the S. T, S, T, S, Ts, Ts. The only English word I can think of where this sort of appears is in the loan word from Japanese, tsunami. Although I've heard that pronounced as tsunami as well. Some German examples are Zoo, which is zoo, and zu, which is to, or closed. Next we have the vowels. Now all the vowels have two versions of them. One is an open vowel and one is a closed vowel. You can also think of it as a long vowel and a short vowel. The vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. Man, which is man, would be an example for a closed A. Park, which is park, is an example for an open A. So the short or closed A is essentially like the U in fun. Man, fun. While the open one is more like the A in park or car. Ah. The closed version of E appears in words like beginnen, which is begin, or begegnen, which is to encounter. It's B. The sound is Comparing it to English, you might try to make the typical filler noise that you make when you're thinking, which sounds sort of like I'm thinking, and make that noise very short, like The open version, however, is a bit different. It appears in words like gehen, which is to go, or See, which is a lake. Now, in the accent of English that I'm familiar with, this kind of sound doesn't really exist, but your particular dialect or accent might have this sound already. If you don't know how to make this sound, I would describe it as doing the E from words like very. So you have that sound that's sort of like an very, And what you will have to do is you will have to try to place that sound a little bit lower in your mouth. So I'll show you what it sounds like when I slowly lower the placement of the sound in my mouth. Gehen, see. Next we have the I. Examples for the closed version of this vowel are Licht and Sicht, which are light and sight or view. And this sound appears in English in words like if or with. The long version or open version appears in words like eagle, which I'm sorry to tell you is sadly not eagle in English, but rather hedgehog. The sound appears in English words like see or be. Then we have the O. A closed version of this appears in a word like Socke, which is sock. So it's essentially the same. Sock, Socke. And the open one appears in a word like Opa, which is grandpa. Or Sohn, which is son. Last in the vowels we have the U. Closed version appears in things like unter, which is under. In English it appears in words like put or hood. It's a short U. It's like And then the open version of this letter appears in shoe, which is shoe. Other English words where this appears are who or pool. If you want to hear about the letters that are more complicated and also about sound combinations that exist in German, then you can go ahead and watch part 2 of this. So thanks for watching and see you in that other video.